I would like to talk about distractions. So distractions is a little bit of an add-on from my video from the other day, which was about grounding. Because when we're grounded and we're in that still present space and we're anchored in and we're just like so centered, then distractions and things like that don't really come into play. But when we are distracted, it means we've come off our center, right? Because with butterflies flown past and we've gone, oh, I'm going to follow that. That's how quickly and easy it can happen. But when you've got like magnets in your feet and you've got concrete boots on in a good way, you know, there's none of that. You're just going to be focused on the job in hand. So this is all about being in alignment and just coming back to self in every single moment, in every single situation, you know. That's the lessons, that's life, right? That's what we've come here to master, because we're all masters of our own creations. So with distractions, it's funny because I've experienced stuff in my life that, I mean, all of my work is to do with anything that is frequency vibration. That's what I do. That's what I eat, sleep and breathe. That's my purpose, okay? So everything in my life is that. And let me tell you, I've actually realized that I've had some major distractions that I've pulled in as creations that were like, yeah, man, that's going to work. That's high vibe. That looks amazing. Why wouldn't I want to do that? You know, it's all very spiritual. It's going to help humanity, blah, blah, blah. And then when I've actually picked it apart and sat with it, I've then realized, oh my gosh, that's a distraction. It's a distraction for what I've really come here to do. And when I refer to what I've really come here to do, I'm talking about your true purpose, your mission and purpose, what we call your original blueprint, your unique soul design. Think of yourself like a blueprint of a house. You have a blueprint of your soul, and there is only one map that was ever created in the whole of the multiverse universe. There's only one of you, okay? So it's a unique soul design, and with that unique soul design is a unique purpose, which means in the purpose, there are unique skill sets, gifts and abilities that you have agreed to bring through in this lifetime, specific to you. No one else has them. So this is where you've got to get right with that and focus with that. And this is where it can be quite funny how you can actually go off center, and it actually, and what I'm going to say here now is I had, like, you know, several creations all going off at the same time, and they all looked amazing. However, there was one that I've now realized was just taking my energy from the other one. However, they were both spiritual creations. However, they were both to help humanity. They were high vibe stuff, but it wasn't for me. One of them wasn't for me, but the other one was. And then I realized in that moment, as soon as I stepped away from it, all of this energy started rushing in, and the very thing that I should have been doing and focusing on all the time, my true purpose and my mission, all of a sudden took off, and it started to happen with effortless ease and flow. This one creation is just happening. That's my true creation, my truth, my purpose. The other stuff, yeah, I could do it, but it's not in alignment with me. But I totally thought it was, because it looked like a duck, it quacked like a duck. It even swam on water. It was a duck, but it wasn't really, you know? So what I'm saying is it's not always that obvious. And the only way you're going to decipher and cut away the branches which you don't need to be able to reveal the true core of it all, of what you're supposed to be doing, is by really getting grounded, getting centered, and really tapping into the inner energy of you. Because if you're in here, you're just going to be accessing everything from a logical standpoint, which means it's not your truth. This is your truth. So distractions, we're at a time now, after this whole year has just completely put us all on our asses. We're at a time now where we got to get right with ourselves. We got to truly know what we came here with, our original blueprint. What is your original blueprint? Can you answer that question? Do you have an idea of, or inkling of what it is that you came here to do? For example, you might be working in a bakery and you might know that you need to work with horses, healing them. You might be in the spiritual realms like me and have several creations going all at the same time. But you've got to redefine that, because there's one of those creations that is bit more potent than the others and kind of sits a bit more strongly within you. So we've got to be discerning. We've really got to be looking at this stuff now because the time is now. And I keep talking about the 21st of December. It's the solstice, big energy is going to come in, but let's just call it the end of 2020, transitioning into 2021. There are big things coming, and this whole year of COVID, and this isn't a debate, but this is what I feel, the COVID basically was here just to crack us wide open to spiritually step into our power in our fullness, but we had to walk through the dark. We're still walking through the darkness. We're still doing the shadow work. That has to be done. So that's what COVID was all about, not a bloody killer virus. Do you know what I mean? The war has been won. The light beings, we're winning. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing a video like this talking about my mission and purpose. Because if the world was ending tomorrow, put it this way, I wouldn't be talking about spiritual creations, and nor would you be sat there listening to this video. So you get my gist. Anyway, there was a slight distraction there. I went off point. You see how it can happen? So distractions. It's about really looking at what it is that you've come here to do now and getting in alignment with that. And you know what? It's not always about spiritual stuff. You might be working in the banking system and you might be in a certain department, yet you know that you would be in much more of your strength and power and completely aligned if you were running another department and you were a leader rather than a follower. So it doesn't necessarily mean about coming out of the system to go and be a yoga teacher. Do you know what I mean? No, that's not what it is. It's about being in your highest aspect. And your highest aspect, your highest potential, the best possible version of you is accessed when you are in here, aligned with what your blueprint is. So that's what life's all about. That's what we're working towards. So with that, and this now moves us on to basically being in our fullness and being seen. And ultimately, that's what sends us into our shadow, because we are all absolutely terrified of being seen. It's what they call tribal consciousness. That's a whole nother video. But like those of you who understand it, we've all got to move around as a tribe. Anybody that pops their head up with some kind of different idea or, wanting to do something unique. This is the craziness. We're all unique, but we move around as a tribe. If we pop our head up and we're different, we might die. So we all just tend to conversations, might be having a girl's lunch or a boy's lunch, and then somebody pipes up and says something and you want to talk about something spiritual, and you say something and then everybody stops, silence, looks over their drinks, looks at you and just like, whoa, that's weird. And then all of a sudden you want to shrink and be small, So it's also about just finding your voice. You don't want to be too much out of the crowd because you've got programming that you might die. You might die, but right now we've been pushed so intensely with this whole year of craziness. What it's all about is basically you now have to step out. You now have to be seen. You now have to be that head that pops above the crowd, because one head will pop above the crowd, and then you'll look around and you'll actually see there are several heads popping up above the crowd, and then we're all there doing our thing. So it's about coming into your unique signature energy, being seen for it, celebrating it, and then your whole life will change. No more fitting in the box, conforming, or dimming your light. And this has a name. It's called vibrational autonomy. And it's a very, very powerful teaching brought through by Thoth, which was channeled through by Daniela Hoffman. Her work is amazing if you wish to go and look at it. But it basically brings it right through to the forefront that we cannot be small anymore. We cannot dim our lights anymore, and we cannot be separate of our purpose anymore, because you know what? It's starting to hurt. We're starting to feel pain in our bodies, and that comes from not being in alignment. So you can continue to walk this path if you can put up with that pain threshold, or you can just basically own yourself, own your stuff, not your shadow. I'm talking about your light, your power, your sovereignty. Own your stuff and let it shine. Okay, so what does that speak to you? Okay, so for example, I'll give you examples of vibrational autonomy. So have you ever been in business, or maybe just, with peers, and you regard somebody a bit more powerful than you or a bit more knowledgeable than you, and they're intimidating. So all of a sudden you go small. Yeah, that's dimming your light. I have been known in my younger years to ask people questions to what I know the answers to. So I make them feel empowered and that I'm not a threat because I'm small and I'm being submissive. I used to do that. So I know what this is all about. I know what it feels like, you know, but I'm not dimming my light anymore because I'm a whole lot of love and I need to share that, man. And I just love the fact that there's that freedom that's starting to come for me now, and it's only started to happen recently. So this is another thing, don't get it twisted. Don't look at somebody and compare yourself to them and go, well, they've got their life together, because none of us have. There's no such thing, because that's another version of vibrational autonomy. You're stepping away from yourself. You're abandoning your post. So it's about having your own back, even in an intimidating conversation. Even if you know the answer to something and you're on a course, somebody asks the question and you want to put your hand up, but you don't want to put your hand up, you know, put your hand up, you know? So it's about having your back. So if you basically abandon your station, say this is you and you're like, right, abandon, step away from yourself, that's basically dimming your light. You have your back no matter what, okay? You stand in your power, you speak your truth. It doesn't mean to be aggressive. It just means don't move away from your post. Don't step away from you. Speak your truth, because that's separation and that can't happen anymore. So the sooner that you understand that, the sooner you're going to be able to bring that through. You know, what you've come here to do, your purpose, you know, your teachings, your vibration in its fullness, whatever. So that's vibrational autonomy. So this is really, really important as we talk about things like this, as we're coming to the end of the year, because the time is now. And this is really, really important, because next year is going to be a completely different vibe. It's rebirth. It's rebirth, and it's a very exciting time. And why wouldn't you want to enjoy that? Why wouldn't you want to celebrate that? Because yeah, we've all been through hell and back, plus hell back, but we're collapsing that timeline now. So now is the time to expand. So I'm just going to finish on one more thing. This whole past 2 weeks, I have been hit with one bill after another, turning to 30,000 Rand in every single amount of bill. And I'm like, oh my God. So basically it's been quite intense. And what I've wanted to do is I've wanted to step away from myself, because as that money hit, I was like all expansive and just feeling great. And then bill came in. And I was like, oh my God, I've got to be small. I've got to protect myself. Oh my God, I've got no money. This is freaking me out. And I was in panic mode. And then in that moment, I checked myself and I thought to myself, what's happened in my energy? I've closed. Yeah, I've made myself small. I've dimmed my light so spirit can't see me anymore. I've completely come off the grid. I'm small, like a little pebble. And I just thought, well, what am I going to do here? So as I had a lot of loss of money came through, and I was like, I'm actually going to expand the same way as if I had received a lot of money. So I flipped it and reversed it. So basically I was like, okay, in that moment, then I pushed my heart out and my energy out, and I was like, open. So I've lost this money. It's a lot. Open. And I did. And you know, within 2 days, I started to get a lot more bookings than I usually do. And money started to come back into my space. And I was shown very simply how easy it is just to keep that energy flowing. So this is another thing. Check yourself when you're being small. So when you feel like scared and like, oh, scarcity and lack, like, oh my God, do the opposite in your energy and push your energy out, open it up and expand your heart, okay? Because what happens is you disconnect from the abundance flow. You disconnect from that grid work, from that energy field. And it's really important that you open. So it's about doing the opposite to what you usually do. And that's only gonna bring crazy, mad results. Whew, okay, so I'm gonna leave it there because that's a lot to digest. And yeah, give it a go, see how you get on, but open your heart. Don't step away from yourself. Have your back no matter what. You honor yourself, get grounded, and then open to receive. And then that's going to be a lot, because you deserve a lot. Anyway, peace.